Every time I hear Joe Flacco speak after a game, I start respecting him even more. There's just something different about the way he talks, the honesty, the calm confidence, the genuine passion. You can tell he actually cares about what's happening on the field and inside that Bengals locker room. And maybe that hits even harder because, let's be real, we've spent years listening to Zach Taylor's pressers where everything sounds polished, political, and rehearsed. With Flacco, it feels real. It feels like someone who's truly invested in pushing this team forward and helping Cincinnati win right now. Before we continue with the latest Bengals updates, make sure to subscribe, drop a like, and hit the bell icon so you never miss any breaking news from Cincinnati. Alright, let's get back to it. So, Flacco was asked about the possibility of Joe Burrow returning and him eventually heading back to the bench, and the way he handled that question was pure professionalism. Zero insecurity. Zero drama. And honestly, he shouldn't be worried. This isn't the first time he's been in a situation like this. Back in Baltimore, he eventually stepped aside when Lamar Jackson took over, and he handled that with the same maturity. But this situation in Cincinnati isn't even really a benching. It's more about holding down the fort until the franchise quarterback is fully back. At this point, everyone understands the situation. This is Joe Burrow's team, but Joe Flacco is the steady hand keeping the Bengals competitive while Burrow heals. And what makes Flacco so easy to respect is how clearly he understands his role. He's not threatened by it, he's not overthinking it, he's simply doing everything he can to help Cincinnati win right now. He even admitted that after things ended in Cleveland, retirement crossed his mind. The game almost pushed him out completely. But here in Cincinnati, he's found something different, a team that values what he brings, and a locker room he genuinely enjoys being a part of. Even when Burrow returns, Flacco seems perfectly content continuing to support the team however he can. And of course, the big unknown is Burrow's timeline. These next two games will determine a lot. If the Bengals stay in the playoff chase, there's a real shot that Burrow pushes to return. But if things don't go the right way, the decision gets more complicated. Flacco was asked about all of this, and his answer showed exactly why the Bengals trust him. He said backups always have a sense of when the starter is close to returning, but he refuses to let that distract him. His mentality is simple: focus on this week, this opponent, this job. He's locked in on preparing for Pittsburgh, nothing else. And that mindset fits perfectly with the reality of the NFL: control what you can control. Wasting energy on hypotheticals helps no one, especially when the Bengals need every ounce of focus to stay in the playoff hunt. There's talk that if Cincinnati is still alive in 2 weeks, Burrow could target a Thanksgiving return. But nothing is guaranteed. It might be Thanksgiving, it might be later, or the Bengals might even decide to hold him out longer depending on where the season stands. What matters right now is simple: Flacco is keeping this team afloat, and the Bengals still have everything to fight for. There's been a lot of speculation, but one thing I genuinely admire about Joe Flacco is his mindset. He keeps everything simple: do your job, stay focused, and don't waste energy on things you can't control. Burrow will return when the time is right, but until then, Flacco is locked in on one thing only: beating Pittsburgh. Now, the tough part? Our defense has made that task harder than it needs to be. Some weeks, it feels like this unit makes winning almost out of our hands. But if there was ever a moment for a defensive turnaround, it has to be this week. And honestly, I still have confidence they'll figure it out when it matters most. What Cincinnati really needs is for Flacco's mentality, that calm, professional, no-nonsense focus, to start rubbing off across the whole roster. That mindset is contagious, and this team could use more of it. As for Flacco's future, he hasn't said anything about retiring after this season. Sure, he considered it back when things fell apart in Cleveland, but Cincinnati has given him a second wind. You can see he's comfortable here, he's valued, and he fits this locker room. And I'll be honest, I'd love to see him back next year as Burrow's backup. Not Jake Browning. Flacco. A veteran who can stabilize a team, keep the offense moving, and step in without panic. That would be an incredible luxury for the Bengals, even if he'll be 41. Whether he chooses to return or not, the logic is simple: the Bengals need a backup who gives them the strongest possible chance to win. And right now, nobody fits that description better than Flacco. Let's be honest, the Bengals haven't exactly had the strongest safety net with Jake Browning. It's been inconsistent, unpredictable football, and that's why keeping Joe Flacco, even on a one-year deal, feels so important. Cincinnati needs stability behind Burrow, and Flacco brings that veteran calmness every team dreams of having in a backup. Nobody wants to imagine Burrow missing time again, but this is the NFL, unpredictable things happen. And if something did go wrong, you want someone on the sideline who keeps the offense steady, who understands pressure, and who can actually win you games. Flacco fits the description better than anyone the Bengals have had in years. As for Burrow, the optimism around his recovery is growing fast. When this injury first happened, people were throwing out numbers like week 15 or 16. Even some sources were saying week 14. But now? There's a real chance he returns as early as week 13, and that's because he looks dramatically better than expected. His throwing motion is clean, which makes sense, since the injury wasn't to his arm, but what stands out is his movement. Watching him walk, jog, shift his weight, he looks close to full speed. Maybe not 100%, but easily around 90%. And if that's true, the rest of the league better brace itself, because Burrow at 90% is still a nightmare matchup. This team is fighting to stay alive, and Burrow's return could flip the entire AFC picture. Let me know your thoughts below. How confident are you in Flacco, and when do you think Burrow should return?